Welcome to TheoTrade. This is Don Kaufman. It is August 1st, 2016, and you are watching the Theo Night video. First of all, we've got the S&Ps down about 6 points right now, with about 3 minutes to play in the period. That is 3 minutes left in the trading day, but the NASDAQ futures are still ripping a bit higher. So a bit of a bifurcation, and I have to say, looking at the range on the trading day, it's one of the first things that kind of strikes me. We got almost a 20-point S&P range. And the reason that strikes me is, well, maybe we're seeing the first signs of some volatility here, is if you take a look at the SPX, and specifically the options in the SPX, through the Wednesday expiration. And again, you guys know I urge you to look at these expected moves and the incredible accuracy in the expected moves, but through the expiration on Wednesday, and this is a Wednesday option right here, it's got 2 days remaining to expiration. Again, that puts us at Wednesday afternoon. We're only expecting a 13-point range, plus or minus. Okay, so the market's expected to move up 13 bucks, down 13 bucks. However, the quick math over here show that you moved more than that today. So a couple of signs of volatility possibly emerging. Nevertheless, though, volatility is still rock bottom in the SPX. For the entire rest of the week, we're still only looking at about a $21 expected move. However, the volatility has picked up. Now, talk of the town over here, it's not the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ isn't, again, it's kind of like bifurcated. That is, the S&Ps are down, the NASDAQ is up. The NASDAQ, though, is generally being driven by, you know, what we kind of call the titans of tech over here. Facebook not necessarily playing as much into this as it's all about Google. But got to take a quick glance at Google, as Google on an intraday basis has faded off of some of the highs. You're looking at this, well, okay, it's not too much. And again, we're about to hear the bell go off over here, but Google faded off the 807 handle. All right, the next few days, it's critical juncture in Google. You know, I kind of stepped back and I looked at this earlier today and I said, did we just see a high in Google? And I'm not just talking a high. I mean, did we just see like an all-time high possibly in Google? The speed unto which the algorithms came in and started hitting this stock was alarming, to say the least. Again, Google, though, still ending up just about 1.25% on the day. Now, the real standout today, it wasn't Google, it wasn't the bifurcation, it wasn't a little bit of volatility coming back into play. It's all about the energy sector. More appropriately, okay, the energy sector getting knocked back, oil down almost 4% today. The XLE finally is reacting. Remember, ExxonMobil last Friday, Chevron, horrific earnings. There's the bell with the S&Ps ending up right around 4 on the day, off about 4 points in the day. But ExxonMobil, Chevron having horrific earnings. It didn't rock the markets. However, okay, you'd had oil get rocked again today, down back into the $39.99 a barrel. You have to love that. They closed it 1 penny below $40 at the close today. But again, oil coming off quite a bit throughout the course of the trading session. Nevertheless, this is to be watched very carefully in the days to come. It could be one of the signs, again, of volatility emerging in markets. Now, more appropriately, rather than to look at broader markets for a moment, let's go into a specific trade. Now, for those of you that do tune in kind of on a day-to-day basis, I run a number of scans, okay, to be able to find trades, and I use some of the thinkorswim technology to find scans. Anyway, one of the scans that kind of hit my radar screen happened to be none other than eBay. Now, this is not a product that I've traded much in recent years. Used to trade it substantially. Kind of falls off the radar screen, but it's got plenty of liquidity. And notice I'll open up today's option statistics. It's trading, almost 6,500 option contracts, which is extremely light for this particular product. It's a product that, trades, 20,000 contracts typically in a day. Nevertheless, volatility incredibly low over here, but the HV percentile is still fairly heated. If you are interested in looking at a chart, all right, I'll look at the chart. So why jump on a position in here? Well, I'm actually looking at a short candidate. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days post earnings here. We've kind of faded into this 31 and change level, and I am using a 39-day in-out spread. Okay, 39-day in-out spread. You can see some of the volume that's starting to pick up in here. It's because, well, I'm out there firing the trade. So what I'm doing inside of this in-out spread is I am buying the 32s, okay, and selling the 30s. Spread is trading in and around 85, 86 cents is where I've been able to execute it. And I've been firing one lot. And I want you to notice, okay, there's some volume in here. There really ultimately is no open interest. So you're going to see, okay, our volume in our open interest start to accrue, but the bid offer spreads are extremely tight. Now the trade risks, okay, let's say 85 cents. I'm trying to make 55%, okay, of the 85 cents. So if you go out there and you put on the trade for 85 cents, when this thing hits in the neighborhood, you know, $1.30, we'll say, you can just exit the position. What's some of the probabilities of that occurring here? Well, you can go out into what's called probability of touching. Just at a quick glance, you can see there's a 60% probability of us touching even the 30 level in here. There's about a $2 expected move in the next 39 days. I mean, this, again, eBay position fits all the parameters I look for inside of a contrarian setup. Now, technology, generally speaking, has been relatively strong. eBay in the last few days can't get out of its own way. Again, people constantly ask, well, why? Why? It's not just about a directional bias. It's about pulling the trigger and executing trades on the right trade logic and using the exact same logic time and again. No one trade will ever make or break us. That means you trade small, okay? You be efficient and you do the exact same thing time and again. That's who wins in this business. It's not about going out and like, let's get cute with it. Let's put on a 1-3-2 ratioed butterfly. I don't need to get cute. These in-out spreads have been extremely effective in a rather low volatility environment. This in-out spread is theta neutral. And what that ultimately means is even if you were to do 10 contracts, there's like no theta. And theta is the daily whittling down of the options value. So that means, okay, for the most part, you're not paying anything to sustain the position. You have 85 cents of risk. If you don't like it, don't do the trade. No stop order. You will risk 85 cents to try to make that 55%. And the probability of you making the profitability is substantially higher than the probability of you losing the full 85 cents. With that, thanks everybody for joining us here at TheoTrade. I'll be back in chat all this week. We've got a fairly intense week of coaching sessions. Additionally, we're going to be doing a class this coming Saturday. So this coming Saturday, get ready. It's the guide to getting short and financing your positions. And what does that ultimately mean? We're going to look for some short stock candidates. And with a marketplace that's an all-time high, it's not going to be too difficult. But we're going to actually whittle down exactly what short candidates that we're looking for. So stay tuned. If you are, of course, a member of TheoTrade, all the classes are included. That class is going to be kicking off again Saturday morning. Okay, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central Time. We should be running about 3 hours in duration. Additionally, we're not just going to find candidates to short. We're going to sell premium against those short positions and sustain the short positions. If you're in an IRA tax-deferred account, have no fear. We'll show synthetic short positions for the tax-deferred accounts or smaller account size. Thanks everybody again for joining us here at TheoTrade. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.